In 1763, a major global conflict known as the French and Indian War came to an end with the signing of the Treaty of Paris. Britain emerged victorious and gained vast territories in North America from France. However, the war had left Britain with enormous debts. In order to recover financially, the British government decided to impose new taxes on its American colonies. These decisions slowly created resentment among the colonists and laid the foundation for a revolution. In 1765, the British Parliament introduced the Stamp Act, which required colonists to pay taxes on printed materials such as newspapers, legal documents, and pamphlets. The colonies reacted with anger and organized protests across cities and towns. Influential voices such as Samuel Adams and Patrick Henry spoke strongly against the tax, arguing that the colonies should not be taxed by a government in which they had no representation. The powerful slogan, "No taxation without representation," soon became the rallying cry of colonial resistance. Tensions grew even stronger in 1770 during the tragic event known as the Boston Massacre. A confrontation between British soldiers and a crowd of colonists turned violent when soldiers fired into the crowd, killing several people. Patriot leaders used this event to demonstrate the dangers of British rule. Engravings and reports, including those spread by Paul Revere, quickly circulated throughout the colonies, intensifying anti-British sentiment. In 1773, colonial resistance reached a dramatic moment during the Boston Tea Party. Angry colonists, protesting the Tea Act, boarded British ships in Boston Harbor and threw hundreds of chests of tea into the water. The act shocked the British government, which responded with strict punitive measures known as the Coercive Acts. Instead of weakening the colonies, these actions united them further against British authority. In 1774, representatives from 12 colonies gathered in Philadelphia for the First Continental Congress. Leaders such as John Adams, George Washington, and John Jay met to discuss how the colonies should respond to Britain's actions. This historic meeting marked the first coordinated effort by the colonies to defend their rights. The conflict finally turned into open war in 1775 with the battles of Lexington and Concord. Colonial militia forces clashed with British troops, marking the beginning of the American Revolutionary War. Soon afterward, the Second Continental Congress appointed George Washington as the commander of the Continental Army, trusting his leadership to guide the fight for freedom. In 1776, revolutionary ideas spread rapidly when Thomas Paine published his influential pamphlet Common Sense. The pamphlet argued passionately that the colonies should break completely from British rule and create an independent nation. The message inspired thousands of colonists and strengthened the movement for independence. On 4th July 1776, history changed forever when the United States Declaration of Independence was adopted. The document was written primarily by Thomas Jefferson with important contributions from Benjamin Franklin and John Adams. It boldly declared that the 13 colonies were free and independent states, no longer under British rule. The war that followed was long and difficult. In the winter of 1776, George Washington achieved a surprising victory at the Battle of Trenton after courageously crossing the icy Delaware River and attacking Hessian forces. This victory revived the morale of the struggling Continental Army. Another crucial turning point came in 1777 with the American victory in the battles of Saratoga. The defeat of the British Army convinced France that the American cause was strong enough to support. Through the diplomatic efforts of Benjamin Franklin, France agreed to form a powerful alliance with the colonies in 1778, providing soldiers, supplies, and naval support. The final decisive chapter of the war came in 1781 during the siege of Yorktown. American forces led by George Washington, along with French troops commanded by Comte de Rochambeau and supported by the French Navy, surrounded the British Army under Charles Cornwallis. With no escape and no hope of reinforcement, Cornwallis surrendered his army, effectively ending the major fighting of the war. 2 years later, in 1783, the conflict officially concluded with the signing of the Treaty of Paris. Britain formally recognized the independence of the United States. What had begun as protests against taxation had grown into a powerful revolution that created a new nation founded on the ideals of liberty, representation, and self-government. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through history, please share the video and subscribe for more stories that shaped our world.